Ladies and gentlemen, I am back on Twitter, so do me a favor and follow me on Twitter at Yes, It's Craig. Again, that's on Twitter. This podcast is sponsored by www.craigthewriterstewart.com. So visit us at www.craigthewriterstewart.com.
My daughter turned me on to Craig. She said, well, Mom, I know you like to read, and I want you to try these books that this guy went to school with wrote. So I said, okay, I'll try anything. If it's documented. So she sent me the book. I read his first book in 24 hours. I could not put it down. It was a page turner. It takes, and this is back to discernment. Everybody cannot weave a story, and he can weave a story. And not only can he weave a story, I always say, well, God first gives you a tap, and then he gives you a knock, and then he gives you a hit, and then he takes a 2x4 and knocks you upside your head when you don't learn the lesson. But in Craig's instance, his experience led him directly to the lesson. And you don't see that in young folks. They don't get it. They just don't get the lesson. You don't see that in old people. A lot of people just, I don't understand what's going on. And you ought to be able to discern, well, now this should have taught me this, and this should have taught me that. And so in his books, after his experience, he gives you the lesson that he's learned, and it's always right on point.
Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is So Much to Say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. I'm having a conversation today with a young woman who happened to be a lesbian, and she found herself in the center of a relationship being abused. Take a listen, and please share this podcast. This is very personal work for me.
Politics.
I believe I was called to tell my story, use my voice, be a voice for the community, to speak to and for a community of people that's been ignored, denied, overlooked.
Religion.
This is my life's work.
Religion.
I want to use words to uplift, heal, inspire, encourage.
Do something different. Every Monday at 10.
You're nervous.
Yeah, just because I'm going to be talking about things. Yeah.
Okay.
But, let's do it.
Okay. So you had a personal experience with domestic violence in your relationship?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So were you the aggressor, or were you the battered or the abused, or how would you word it?
Ooh, I hate that.
Yeah.
I started some shit. I started the first big fight, physical. And I regretted it.
What happened during that fight? How did you start it?
I remember that night feeling overwhelmed. I remember talking to my mom. My mom was going through a rough time. And my girlfriend was in the house, and I remember her specifically saying, I was on the phone with my mother actually, and not only was it my mother going through a lot that was taking a toll on me, but I was going through a lot. My relationship seemed like it just wasn't flowing in the right direction that I had hoped it to be.
And how long had you been together at that point?
We had not been together very long at all, actually. I don't even think it was a year. It definitely wasn't a year, because it wasn't a year. It was only a couple of months, but it was a very intense, very passionate relationship. We both were very much in love. And I want to say, okay, so I'm very transparent. I'm still in love with this woman.
And how long ago was this?
This was not that long ago. It was only a couple of months ago that physically,
okay,
I'm still in love. and I'm going through my transition of getting out of love. I believe she may be as well.
Do you guys still have contact?
As I would say within the first, maybe how long has it been? It's been maybe a week
Okay.
that we haven't had contact. The fights stopped months ago, but I don't feel like I've truly healed from the fights. So even when she was trying to show me, well, we're not fighting, it wasn't enough.
Right. The collateral damage.
The collateral damage was still there. I still had flashbacks. I still felt like, well, hell, if we get into an argument, is it gonna go there?
Yeah.
Can I voice myself the way that I really want to voice myself? I don't know what the backlash is going to be. But I do want to be honest, and I want to go back to the first time that her and I got physical. So again, it was a lot. It was a lot on my plate. I felt overwhelmed. I felt like I was putting a lot of things on the back end because my main focus was this relationship and this woman, and it wasn't paying off. That was my main frustration. I remember a lot of things from that night, but there's one thing in particular that I felt guilty about. When I was on the phone with my mother, she specifically asked me, because the fight happened at my house, and she specifically asked me, do you want me to stay? Do you think it's a good idea I stay, or should I allow you to have your time? And I remember saying, no, stay. And that was not the right decision.
Was there a part of you that told you to tell her to leave? Or was it all, no, you should stay?
I wanted comforting. I wanted to be held. I wanted someone to tell me, you know what, whatever's going on, it's going to be all right. I wanted to be comforted in the way that I wanted to be comforted. That goes along with communication as well. When you do not have that type of communication with your partner, this is the way that I need to be comforted. This is the way that I need to be loved. I need you to show me this. This is what makes sense to me. This is what resonates. There's always going to be an issue. So I didn't need my partner on the couch watching TV while I was going through mentally what I was going through.
So was there a piece of you that wanted to tell her to leave?
There was definitely a piece that wanted to tell her to leave, but there was also a piece of me that was like, I don't want to be alone.
Right.
And I remember drinking. I remember just, and that's usually what happens. You want to find that comfort somewhere. Right. You want to escape.
And you didn't actually articulate to her that, listen, I want to be held. And
I didn't articulate that.
Right.
I didn't articulate that. If anything, I became more frustrated. Whatever she was talking about was pissing me the hell off. I have no idea what the argument was about or how it started. But I remember putting my hands on her. I remember her kicking her out of my house. I remember pushing her into something.
Was she fighting back?
I think she was so shocked that she wasn't fighting back. Well, I know damn well she wasn't fighting back because the fights thereafter, I now know how she fights back.
Right.
So she was definitely not fighting back.
Okay.
She, at that time, I believe, was so shocked that I was giving her all of this. She was trying at one point to, what am I trying to say? Trying to, restrain me at one point. And then at one point she started to fight back, but by that time I was just overpowering it. I was overpowering the situation.
So were you punching, slapping?
No, it was no punching. It was pushing. It was a lot of pushing the first time. my wall has, I don't want to exaggerate and say a hole, but there is a dent in my wall as a result. She was physically, I think she lost like a toenail. I know she lost a toenail. She lost a toenail from that.
Was this the first time you have been in a relationship that became physical?
No.
Were you the aggressor before?
No.
Okay. Do you
I think that had a lot to do with it. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, that was what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that it did have a lot to do with it. When, the next day, I just remember feeling this guilt. I remember feeling so apologetic. I remember feeling like this is not something I'm going to be able to take back. This is something that she absolutely did not deserve. And whatever I have to do to make it right, I want to make it right.
So was she at your home the next day, or had she left at some point after the
This
fight?
was a while ago, and we have had plenty of physical fights, so I really don't know if she came back the next day. I don't even remember how long it took us to get over that, but I remember her saying, I don't know if you should drink the way that you do. And I remember saying this was definitely not about the drinking because I'm not a drinker like that, and I'm damn sure not a violent drinker. This was about me being frustrated, allowing things to pile on, not feeling like I can communicate with you as my partner, and it just all blowing up. Not feeling like I had that support.
Over the course of the relationship.
Over the course of the relationship, and and really just in life. I spoke about this. Recently, and I was talking about how someone can just take and take and take, and people in your life can take and take and take. They don't realize it until the well runs completely dry. And then people lash out, and it's like, oh my God, they got issues. No, they're tired. They feel like they don't have anything else to give. They don't feel like anybody is giving them what they're giving. Right. And that's where I was,
So
and baby, I paid for it.
What do you mean?
I mean that I feel like every fight thereafter, she had to prove to me how mentally, physically strong she was, how I would never overpower her again. She would never just take it again. I feel like, how I feel? I feel like, and I hate to use this as a comparison, but I feel like when you get into a fight with someone back in the day when you're young, and you beat their ass, and they're like, oh no, bitch. Every time I see you, I'm gonna get you.
Right.
I feel like it was always back in her head, like I didn't really get you back the way I wanted to. Right. And
so what was she doing? Like would she initiate fights, or she would do things that
So on the way over here, I was wondering how transparent I wanted to be, but I think that it is a responsibility of anybody that's gotten over something, and so these fights, punching, scratching, my hair has been ripped out. I've had a bloody face.
And do you think that she what was she initiating like fights to get back, or would
I don't think that she was ever maybe. I don't know. I don't want to say she's been trying to get back at me for that day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my ex is clearly the aggressor,
Mm-hmm.
if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's always been kind of a little chip on her shoulder, that first fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been a chip on her shoulder. But as far as the fights thereafter, you know, it would just be bogus. You know, it was definitely influences, outside influences,
Mm-hmm.
drugs, alcohol, heavy influences. The number one issue is communication.
When
and
you
lack
say drugs, do you
thereof.
mean something more than like weed or alcohol?
Yeah,
Okay. Did you know that she was using
yeah,
before?
yeah, I did. And that is, you know, when I say that this is the first time that I was in love,
Mm-hmm.
and I really swept a lot of things under the table,
Mm-hmm.
morally, things that I wouldn't have ever accept from just
Mm-hmm.
anybody. I put up with.
Why do you think you did that?
Because I was in love. I was in love. And here's the thing. Not only am I in love, this is the first time that I'm in love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all in. Even when I'm verbalizing that I'm not. My heart is all in. So, of course, I don't want to say it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not okay. You know, it's not cool, especially when it's affecting us. When it's affecting our relationship, when I feel like ultimately you're lashing out to me or whatever the case may be, it's not okay. But if anybody says that they don't want it to be okay when you're in love with somebody, they're lying. You want it to be okay. You know, you want that person to either overcome this,
Mm-hmm.
or you don't want it to affect your relationship in a negative way. So,
Was infidelity an issue ever?
no.
No.
And this is going to sound very ignorant, but baby, sometimes I wish it was.
Mm.
And not to say that, you know, oh well, I wish my girl would have cheated on me and I could have got over it. No, but I feel like that's something it would have been on the same wavelength as you. I would have been able to say, well,
Something more to manage.
something more to manage. You know, I in my little everybody has their ignorant waves. I could have easily said, well, girl, what does she have that I don't? Well, you know what I'm saying? Or
I
how
think,
she, you know.
Or more importantly, it would have been something that you could have tried to overcome, you know, through counseling or...
Through counseling,
you know,
or
whatever.
what is this person providing to you that I haven't been providing you? Or are you looking for something different? Do you want an open relationship?
Mm-hmm.
See, all these things we could have discussed.
Right.
The drugs I can't compete with.
Right. Do you think there was a history of violence in her previous relationship?
Yes, I do. I know for sure it was.
Did you know that going into this one?
I didn't know going in, but I learned it once my feelings were already there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would make statements like, I know this is not the first time you've heard these things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or, you know, once we started talking about a future, I would say, well, tell me about your ex.
Mm-hmm. What were some of the things that you had said to her? Like, I know this isn't the first time you've heard this.
You're not listening to me. You're talking over me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're talking down to me. Things like that, you know, things like that. I really do think it was common
Mm-hmm.
relationship issues, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
and someone would say, I know this is not the first time you've heard that, you know, and that's vice versa.
Right.
You know, I don't want to make it seem like I'm sitting over here rosy peach and, you know, I ain't doing no wrong now. Like, you know, let's be clear about that. I've definitely held my own. But I also was very hurt, and I still to this day am very, very, very hurt.
So what was it that you were in love with?
I was in love with I was in love with the times that my partner made me feel like $1 million. I was in love with the times that my partner made me feel like there was no one else in the room. I was in love with the times that my partner, you know, would say, I'm not giving up. We're going to work on this.
Was she older or same?
We're that exactly the same age.
Okay.
You know, if anybody knows me, they know that I'm a flighter.
What do you
I'm not a... There are fighters and then there's flighters. There's
Somebody
people...
who run.
Right. And I will not run, but there's people that... Like the people out there that don't like confrontation, they're flighters. You know, with me, I feel like... I'm not going to say I don't like confrontation. I will...
Try to avoid conflict.
No, I don't even want to say that. I will say that if there's a confrontation, I want to deal with it head on. But then once we've gotten that argument, oh girl, we're done.
Right.
And you know what? Guess what? We didn't agree, and that's fine. And let's move on. You have your other people out there that's like, well, we gonna get down. We gonna get down and get down and get down until I'm done. You know, until I remember one time we got into a fight, and out of all the hurt, I remember her telling me, I'm tired. I mean, physically. Like, physically, as she's doing whatever, she stopped and said, I'm tired. I'm tired.
How often were these fights happening?
It's not funny, it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. And I remember crying my eyes out and really just like pleading and asking, why would you do this to me right now? Why? And her response was, I'm tired. I'm done. Now I'm done. Now it's over.
How often were they happening?
I don't want to say they were happening like once a week. It was just...
Did it become
It was just every night.
commonplace?
It seemed like it became common. It seemed like it became a common thing.
Were there ever bruises
Yeah.
that you had to hide, or
Yeah.
who knew? Did anybody know? Did
My
you
best
ever-
friend knew. My best friend knows. My best friend knew. You know, but that's another thing too. This I understand the cycle. You know, my cycle was, oh shit, you know, okay, we just had a fight. And then my next cycle, the next stage of that cycle is, you know, you're looking yourself in the mirror, or you're looking at these scars, or you're looking at whatever, and you're like, I know damn well this ain't me.
What kind of scars are you talking about?
Just bruises, you know, scratches.
Bruises to your face?
Bruises to your face, bruises to my face, bruises to my neck, bruises to my arms.
Did you ever feel like your life was at risk? Did you ever feel like she might kill you? Was there ever a moment where it got so scary, like in the heat of a fight, where...
Not in the heat of a fight. Not in the heat of a fight, no.
Did she ever tell you she would kill you?
No. Now, I've had an ex that has told me that they would kill me. I have had an ex that blatantly told me, like, girl, I'll take the brakes off of your car. Like, I'm ready to do that.
So this wasn't your first
This
relationship
was
with
not
the woman?
my... No, absolutely.
Okay.
No. This was not my first relationship with a
Right.
woman. This was not my first
Time having a fight,
physical relationship. or I say abusive physical relationship. But the older relationships, once they got to that point, I was easily say, okay, well, that's it. You know, I'm good. I'm good off of that. I'm done. I wasn't in love with those people. I wasn't in love with those women.
So you thought at some point that there was a potential that she could kill you?
My ex...
In this relationship?
Here's how I want to respond to that. I want to say that, did I ever sit around and say, yo, can she really kill me? Or is this a situation like Dateline or whatever the case may be? No, but I never thought that she would ever put her hands on me. Either.
Right. So what's the pattern? What's your pattern? Because this isn't your first relationship.
I like crazy women.
Where it became...
I am attracted, and I don't want to say I like, because I'm not going to feed the universe that anymore. I was attracted to, and I still am attracted to the edgy, the rough.
But
if it ain't rough, it ain't right.
Edgy and rough don't mean abuse.
This is true. This is very true.
Those aren't synonymous.
They're not synonymous, and there shouldn't be.
So is there another pattern? Like, is there a history, like, in your childhood? Did you see your parents fighting? Did you see an auntie? Or?
So I did.
Okay.
There was one member of my family that dealt with abuse.
And do you think you associated abuse with love? Do you think? Have you ever thought that?
I have thought about that. I have thought about that. I'm definitely not the type of person that believes, well, if she hits me, she loves me.
Right.
I'm so far from that. Okay. What I am attracted to is someone not giving up. And that goes back to my fight and flighter. I'm a flighter. I'm like, this right here is too hectic, girl. I'm gonna see you next week.
Right.
When you have two people like that, nothing gets anywhere.
Right.
When you have someone that's like, Imani, we're going to work on this and I'm not giving up regardless, I'm attracted to that. I don't want a me.
So who was this relative that you said you saw?
My aunt. My aunt dealt with abuse. My aunt was a very, very strong, headstrong woman. Couldn't tell her shit. She lived her life the way that she wanted. She was attracted to passion. She was attracted to living life on edge. She did it her way.
Is she still living?
She's not. She was put... she was made into a vegetable by her boyfriend. Her boyfriend beat her up to the point where she lost oxygen in her brain. And my aunt was a type of female that, you know, she ain't give a fuck. She fought you. You know what I'm saying? I remember seeing this man in her home, this big, burly ass man, and she didn't give a fuck. You know, she go to toe-to with you. I admired her. I admired her lifestyle. I admired her ways.
Do you think that you're trying to mimic her?
I feel like I want to take living the way that she lived on edge and did it her way. I like that shit because it's really only one life to live. I don't want to misconstrue. I just need someone in my life, or someone's not going to give up on me and I know that they have love for me. I even know that they're in love with me. I don't want to misconstrue that with you're worth being here. And that's easily misconstrued. You know, you're worth being here because you won't give up on me. That's just not the way it is, because, you know, when does it end? And another thing is that where do we graduate to? If you're punching walls and you're slamming things and you're having a temper tantrum, if I'm talking to you and you're yelling at me and I'm saying, yo, okay, let's talk, but don't yell. But you can't not yell. Okay? And then when we get into an argument, you yelling, you throwing stuff around and you breaking stuff. All right? Now you done punched the wall. Well, girl, what's next? What's next? And that's what I would ask. So when you say, well, do you think that this person would ever kill you? Well, no, I'm not going to say that. But I never thought that somebody would throws a glass in my home. And I never thought that I would accept it.
Right. Yeah.
Let's be real. I never thought that I would be the woman that's like, whoo, and then get back on the phone with you.
Right.
That it's not the person that I want to be.
How do you think you became that person? Because I think that, it's so easy for us to look at other people's relationships, other people's situations,
absolutely,
and say, oh my God, I would never deal with that.
Absolutely.
But I personally believe that we are all one bad decision away from making the same bad decision that someone else has made. And I think it's just a matter of when those things present themselves to you.
Yes.
So like today, I'm in this amazing space where my defenses are up. I'm paying attention to my life. I'm not accepting or tolerating any foolishness or nonsense. But there was a time in my life where things weren't going well financially, professionally, and my inhibitions were lowered, and I allowed foolishness to slip in.
Yes.
So was there something well, you did say that things were going awry when this physical thing started happening, but how do you think you got to the point where you quote unquote allowed?
I lowered my guard. And when
was it because you were just ready to be in a relationship? What was it?
I think that I was ready for passion. Because
I think sometimes we make, at least for me, I've in my past made poor decisions out of loneliness.
That's a very good point. It's a very good point. Definitely loneliness. Really passion though. I remember the relationship prior to, and I would speak to the universe. I practice universal law, by the way, which has also very much helped me with this last situation, my last relationship. And I remember speaking to the universe and saying, these women that I'm coming in contact with, they're real cool, they're real mundane, everything is chill, but I'm a passionate person. If I have a topic, that I want to say, or if I want to speak on something specifically and it resonates, you're going to see some passion. You're going to see some fire out of me. I want somebody that's going to be able to deal with that and keep up. And the women that were coming into my life were more so, well, just go ahead and let her do her thing. Don't just go let anybody. And whatever you want to do, babe, whatever you want to do. And I don't like that.
So, speaking to the point that you just made about universal law, I believe in that as well.
Yes.
So, you do understand then that you drew this
I absolutely do.
into you.
I asked for it.
Okay. So, that's what I'm trying to get
let me be even clearer. I manifested my last relationship.
You beckoned it.
I manifested it by asking for passion. I manifested by asking for someone that wouldn't give up on me. I manifested by asking someone that, I think I can relate to other women when I speak on this. When you getting a little all over the place, somebody that would just pull you in and be like, listen, everything is going to be okay. Take a deep breath and we're going to start from here. I needed someone to take the reins. I wanted that. I wanted a break. Baby, I got it.
And that's the thing, that's the component that I always try to tell women especially, or even just people period.
People just, I can just speak on what I know.
Yeah, just people period, because people, I often talk to people and they say, well, I don't want to be in another relationship because I've been done wrong and my heart's been broken. But if you don't change the way that you think and feel about relationships, you will always usher that type of energy into your life. You have to change the way you think. And then you can,
Absolutely. I wanted a go-getter. I wanted a hustler. And when I say hustler, I don't mean somebody that's out on the street doing something negative. I wanted somebody that hustles.
To grind.
I wanted somebody that sparked
make shit happen.
Something in me to get what I wanted going. And those things came to me from a result of her being in my life and from a result of her now not being in my life.
Let me ask you this. Was there a point where the physical abuse became rape in the relationship? Was there ever a time where she forced you to have sex?
No.
Okay.
No.
And the relationship that you had immediately prior to this, that was physical too?
No.
Okay, so it was some relationship.
No. That relationship, I remember.
So they weren't back to back.
They were not back to back.
Okay.
I remember this one time, and I wonder if my ex is gonna hear this, but I remember one time, I'm a spitfire. I get that from my mama. We gonna argue. You know, we gonna keep up with what I'm saying. And I remember my ex was trying to keep up with an argument. She got so frustrated that she pushed me. You know, but it was just, and I remember like seeing it from the beginning and actually laughing and was just like, girl, just go. You know what I mean? Because I see what happened here, you know. But bless her, no, she's a wonderful spirit, and it was definitely not physical. It was actually the opposite. It was so like, I don't want to rock the boat. I'm scared to rock the boat. I don't want to lose you. Whatever makes you happy, I'm just gonna have to fold and go with. And that I couldn't get with either. You know, I couldn't respect it. It didn't turn me on. So, and I'm not trying to say that the physical turned me on. Let's, you know, because I want that to be clear. But what I'm saying is that I'm a passionate woman. I need somebody by my side that knows how to work and build with a queen. Because that's who I am. And it doesn't mean showing me your strength to prove to me that you're stronger. That does not work. Because what happens is when you're a queen and you rise, baby, once you get all that, oh shit, you see ain't shit stop. You see I'm still talking that cash money shit. You see I'm still doing my thing. You see that if anything I'm better. You could have been a part of the build. But you so fixated on showing me who's boss, it doesn't, you know.
So when did you decide that you had had enough in this particular relationship? Was it that?
I want to say it's been, has it been a month?
Was it a particular fight that did it, or just the entire thing was just too much and you were?
It was not a particular fight. It was the fact that it was a lie.
What was?
Okay, so specifically, I don't want to say what the lie was, but I do want to say that.
Oh, so not the relationship.
It wasn't. Well, I guess it was an overall relationship. Basically, what did it for me was, in January. In January, I had said, you know what, I'm still in love with you, but in order for us to work on this, I think we need to reach out and get counseling. That's the only way that I'm really going to be in this the way that I was in this. That I can even trust you and let my guard down the way that I used to. We carried on because in January we had a huge fight, a huge physical fight. One that I will never forget. And
why is that?
I will never forget that fight because I had been promised so many times that it wasn't going to get that far. I was going into a new year. I had the worst type of disappointment. I was disappointed in myself.
How far did it go?
It got to the point where, it was, again, it was physical. I was hurting. I was weakened to the point where I didn't fight back. I had gotten tired of fighting back.
Were you out in public?
No, this was actually, again, in my home.
Neighbors were never called? Police were never
okay, so let me tell you real quick about the neighbors, too. I just want to say this. So I had gotten a couple of notices from the building saying, listen, plenty of noise complaints, right? So I was on my third noise complaint.
And usually that's your last straw.
Usually that's the last straw. I was on my third noise complaint, And so my neighbor comes out and I'm yelling, stop, stop. Like, please, somebody call the police. Please help. Okay. So my neighbor comes out and he's like, I'm trying to get some sleep. And I said, well, motherfucker, call the police.
Right.
You guys just need to stop this. And I'm trying to get some sleep. This woman is on top of me. Punching me. I'm gonna be real. She's punching me in my face. I'm talking about mopping my ass. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Getting me good. You know, and I'm like, call the police. The police never comes. So that's a separate sidebar. You know, I've definitely talked to my apartment complex as well, because I feel like if you're going to send me a notice, you also could have sent me help, girl. You don't know really what the situation was. I could not be here. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. But anyway, that time in January was my last straw as far as emotionally goes. I never laid down with her the same. I never looked at her the same. It was just enough. Enough was enough.
Did you ever feel after a fight, when you had sex or became intimate, did you ever feel foolish? Like,
Absolutely.
I'm sleeping with someone that just
Absolutely.
beat me.
You feel like a goddamn fool. You feel like a goddamn fool. You feel like, girl, I mean, I don't know how many times I've asked myself, Imani, are you in an abusive relationship? That's another thing within our community. For some reason, we don't want to use that term. We don't want to use that term, abusive relationship. We'll say, oh, we got into a fight. Oh, well, you know, her and I just got into it. You know what I'm saying? But when the heterosexual community says, well, we got into a fight or we got into it, somebody gonna say, well, what now, girl? Did he hit you? You know what I'm saying? We don't say that.
Because I don't think that people think, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this podcast.
Absolutely.
And it's the reason why I did another podcast with a guy, and I called it Man versus Man, because I don't think that people outside of this community believe or even consider that domestic violence happens, because it's like,
Yes.
okay, well, it's two women or
That's
it's
right.
two men.
That's
like,
right. That's right. And we need more awareness.
Right.
We need more awareness about it, because it does happen.
And it happens in 50% of LGBTQ
It
relationships.
happens, and I had to check myself about speaking on it, because people are so quick to say, well, you know, well, you can't hold your own. Yeah, I had a friend literally say, well, did you fight her back? I mean, you look like you can fight. Girl, that's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. Literally look at me and say, Imani, I know you can fight. Well, you ain't fight her back. You know, so the mentality is very different, and it's unfair when it comes to our community. I've also checked myself. You know, it's been plenty of times that I've fought my ex back. That's not what this is about.
So you mentioned that at one point you were open to going to counseling with her. Do you think that counseling could heal an abusive relationship?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I do.
Because oftentimes we hear about people in abusive relationships, and the word is always, oh, well, if he hits you once, or if a person hits you once, they'll hit you again, you should leave. So you do think that counseling can...
I'm not going to say that counseling cures. I'm going to say that counseling is an option. And I think that we, especially within our community, need to start exploring that option more and more and more. I want to get back to when I told my ex, I know this is not the first time you've heard that. I said to her, what about counseling? I knew a portion of some things that was going on in her past. What about counseling? I introduced counseling to her, and she has started counseling, or if she's still doing counseling, that's wonderful, whatever the case may be. But she does have a counselor. She does have a therapist, and I introduced that to her. I want to say that I really wish I would have been able to have counseling with her. I feel like, would it have saved our relationship? I don't know. Would it have saved a friendship? Possibly.
Do you think the two of you will get back together? Is that something you want?
I don't know.
You don't know to either one of those questions?
I don't know if I want to be back with her, because I got caught in this cycle where, well, I want her back, but I want her back the way I want her back. Mm-hmm. And that's not the reality. That right there, that thought process is what's gotten me fucked up plenty of times. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, I want her back. I want my woman back. I saw this good in her. I saw this, and I want that back. We get caught up on that. Mm-hmm. Here is what it is. There is some normalities that you have, and they include abuse, abusive language, abusive communication, abusive mentally, abusive physically. That's your normal. That's mm-hmm. what you know. I don't know that. Mm-hmm. Now that you're turning that around, that's wonderful. And I hope the next woman that comes into your life, you can show her the difference, mm-hmm. you know. But I'm still caught on, I want this woman the way I want her back.
So do you think you're ambivalent about whether or not you want her or not because there's just some feeling left over, you know, from the relationship?
I do. I'm still in love. I'm still in love. And I think that when you stand in your truth, it's much better for the healing process. You know, I was raised very prideful. I don't want to live that life. I don't want to be this prideful person that is, you know, I'm not in love with her. Fuck that bitch. No, I'm still very much in love with her. And if there's something that I can do for her, depending on what it is now, mm-hmm. I'll do it. You know, but I also know standing by you and being your woman, I'm not able to do that anymore because I'm constantly losing, even when we're not physically fighting. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm still losing. You know what I'm saying? I haven't gotten over it.
So how are you going to choose differently for your next relationship?
I ain't dating these bitches no more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to be a damn. When we go over yesterday with the LGBTQI, I'm about to be an asexual. I'm not dating nobody. I don't know. I feel like I'm one of those people where my trust has been
shattered.
I'm one of those people, man. My trust has been shattered. I am hurt. I am like very cautious.
I think it's important for anyone that comes out of a situation to reorganize, recalibrate,
absolutely,
and kind of to take the time to figure out what it is you want, what it is you need moving forward. And there's this idea, this misnomer that the way to get over someone is to get under someone else. Oh, yeah. But I think that's the quickest way to hurt yourself more, hurt someone else, and really not recover and identify the patterns and issues or whatever it is that you have going on with yourself. And so I think with you, it's just a matter of sitting still for some time and really, really looking at your relationship patterns. I think at some point we all have to sit and look at our relationship patterns and see how we can change, how we can choose better.
I agree. I do want to say that sitting still doesn't work for me. I've sat still enough. For me, it's about having my creative juices going. It's about getting into projects. It's about building something and watching it blossom. Mm-hmm. Because that's also what a relationship is about. Mm-hmm. You want to start somewhere and you want to build that relationship with your partner and watch it blossom. You want to be able to say, babe, remember when we used to da-da-da-da? You know, you want that build. Mm-hmm. I don't want to sit still, but I agree as far as checking the pattern. Mm-hmm.
Do you think you're obsessed with fixing?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't want to fix.
Okay.
I don't want to fix. I'm attracted to the rough and the rugged. That's real. I like you know, I'm from Queens, New York. I like me somebody rough and rugged, and I want to now attract a different caliber of woman. That's what I want to focus on, because you can still be a hustler, but be a different type of hustler. You know what I'm saying? You could still be out here grinding and doing your business, but you a different type. I want a woman that is not intimidated by me. I spoke on this last night as well. I want a woman that is not intimidated by me. I need to know that you're standing in your truth. I need to know that you are proud of where you are. And you're proud of me for what I have gotten. And then you see how we both can mesh and do this damn thing. You know what I'm saying? That was a major thing as well. A lot of times you get into relationships with these people, and I've seen it straight, gay, bisexual, whatever. These people are intimidated by you. Listen to them. Listen when they come over your home. See how they treat your home. See how they talk to you. See how they say, well, yeah, well, I mean, you got that, but see how they compare their past with yours. It's always a comparison. See how they bring up your past and throw it in your face. Watch for those things. You know, so that's how I'm going to press on. I'm going to now start standing in my God's gift. I'm going to start, you know, doing what Imani Monique knows that she can do. You know, a lot of things have taken a backstage because of this last relationship, and my loved ones see it. I know they do. They see the difference. You know, they don't want to speak on it because they knew how much I was in love, and they knew you can't talk about my baby. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I had loyalty for her. I don't give a fuck. Can't speak about it. Don't talk to me about her. And now they're like, I like to see you out. I like to see you out and about. I like to see you getting involved with this person, that person, and what's next. Because they know that's truly who I am. So they're seeing that difference.
What would you say to someone that's in the position that you were in, that's in a relationship, and they're having these intermittent fights? Because I think sometimes we don't want to call it what it is. We don't want to call it abuse because, oh, it doesn't happen every day. I mean, it happens every now and then.
Definitely intermittent. I would say a lot. First thing that I would say is look up the term abuse. If you ask yourself, like I ask myself, am I in an abusive relationship? Look it up. Like you use any other term, any other word, look it up and see if you fit that definition. That's number one. Number two, with these intermittent fights, if someone knows that they can punch you and get away with it, when I say get away with it, I mean as far as, oh God, I really don't even know what I mean, because sometimes people even get arrested, you know, or you punch them back, and it's like you feel like, well, they necessarily haven't gotten away with it because there was some backlash. My point is that if someone knows that they can punch you 9 times out of 10, they will do it again. If you're able to keep up with that shit, then God bless you. I'm not going to tell you to get out. I know a lot of people are waiting for that, and people are wanting me to say, get out of that situation. Get it. If you can keep up with it, God bless you. My aunt tried to keep up with it, and she lost. And she also lost 13 years of her life in a nursing home by being a vegetable. You know what I mean? I mean, like, not even having the peace of death. You are a vegetable. You know, So, if you know that that's not truly who you are, do something different. If I knew, even though my love was there are times when I was alone and I would have those flashbacks and I'm like, my God, this ain't right.
What do you think this will do in terms of trust?
For me?
Yeah, going forward, trusting.
Oh,
Because I believe there are degrees of trust.
It's shattered my trust.
There are degrees of trust.
It's shattered my trust. It shattered my trust. You know, prior to my last 2 relationships, I was the type of person that would preach that I don't need relationship. That we can have relations, we can have an understanding, but I don't need a partner. I don't need all that. You know, that's who I was, and I hate to admit it. I'm not like a stone cold hard bitch because of this situation. I'm not, you know, fuck all these. No. But it has definitely shattered my trust. I don't need you staying over my house. I don't need you bringing things to my home anymore. You know, we can have a good time, but as far as investing, I don't need to invest my time, my energy, and my love.
So has this changed how you see relationships?
Yes, in my relationships, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm shooketh. I'm shooketh.
Do you think that's just where the space that you're in now? Do you think that over time?
Well, you know, I don't know. I don't know what time is going to bring to the table. This day right now, I am shooketh, baby. I just, because one can ask from so much love, how do you get this? You know, is this how you know love? Is this your definition of love? Did you really love me at all? Was this love? Do you need me for something else? Are you using me for something? What is it? You know, and my mother used to always preach, everyone has not been raised the same way. So what's normal for you when
Everyone's normal is different.
everybody's normal is different?
So earlier you said you were frustrated in that fight you initiated. I believe that a part of taking care of yourself is telling people what you need. So how would you handle those frustrations moving forward in future relationships?
In future relationships, I want a partner.
Because no one can read your mind.
And that's true. And I am actually usually a vocal person. I'm usually a person that's like, listen, this is what I want, this is what I need, and girl, it's just not happening. I want a partner that makes me feel comfortable enough to say those things in future relationships. So that's what I can say. I can say that in this relationship, I felt not always comfortable being myself, my true self. And that was becoming issues. You know, that brought on issues as well. So that's what I would want. You know, yeah.
So
if I could go back, I definitely would have told her, listen, babe, I need you to hold me right now. You know what? No, I wouldn't have. I would have said, babe, I think you should leave.
How much of that responsibility belongs to them and how much belongs to you? Like, because when you say, I have to be with a partner that makes me feel comfortable enough to say that, how much of that burden belongs to them and how much of that belongs to you in terms of just building your own emotional maturity and your own emotional language to be able to say that?
How much responsibility? I don't. We all have our cross to bear. You have to take responsibility for not making your partner feel comfortable. You have to take responsibility if there is a change in your partner to where your partner is not comfortable enough saying, this is what I need now, and they rather just shut up and sit there, you have to take responsibility for that, and you have to notice that. You can't take advantage of that. You know, oh, now she's shutting up, so great, now I can just get on with my day. But she's still here. I still want her here, but now she could just shut the hell up. And then I have to take responsibility for allowing that to happen. You know, I have to take responsibility for allowing someone to, you know, as we say, knocking me off my square, getting me off my game. You know, this is not working for me, and standing in that and not feeling like, well, damn, if I say this is not working for me, well, then that's it. And we're not going to recover. That's just going to be it. You know, so we each have to take responsibility for those things. Yeah, I guess, and you know, that's really all I have to say about that. We both have to take responsibility for it. It's the allowing, and it's also however you have pushed your partner into that space. You know, you've pushed your partner into that space where they feel like, well, if I just make a shift here, or if I make a shift here, or if I just shut up when I really feel like I should be voicing my opinion on certain things, then everything will be okay. And it won't. Not unless you just completely fold and allow somebody to rebuild you. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to allow this person to rebuild you like a damn mannequin or Barbie or whatever the hell, you know, this fake, you know? You willing to do that? Well, then, girl, cool. Then that's good. If you trust that person to to be there, I don't want to even use the word puppet, but if you trust them enough to rebuild you and you feel like whatever you getting out of it is worth it, then great. For me, it was not worth it. It wasn't worth it. Don't be embarrassed about it. And then once you are ready, for sure, then move on, and move on for the better.
If you or someone you know are in this position, contact the Domestic Violence Hotline. They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their toll-free number is 800-799-7233. This wraps up our season for So Much to Say podcast. We hope that you have enjoyed this season. If there is a show that was memorable for you, please pass it on. And don't forget, you can stay in touch with me via Twitter. My Twitter is YesIt'sCraig. And my Instagram is Craig the Writer Stewart, and it's also Craig the Writer Stewart on Facebook. I'm also available on Patreon. If you're not familiar with Patreon, visit my page. It's a video diary, and I take you through a day in the life of all of the things that I do. It's professional stuff that I do, behind the scenes stuff that I do, but it's also a glimpse of my personal life and just different conversations that I have with friends and family members. Patreon is Patreon. My site is www.patreon.com/Craig the Writer Stewart. Again, that's patreon.com/Craig the Writer Stewart. As always, thank you for listening. Be safe, keep loving yourself, and we'll see you soon.